back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Education, the Teachers Talking Terror podcast, where myself, Mike,
and myself, Courtney,
are here to talk about another horror film that Courtney has never seen prior to today. I know it's like a broken record, but I really, really enjoy that dynamic of the show that we cover something that you don't have a clue about. And this week we are back to talk about 2009's Sam Raimi directed Drag Me to Hell, a film starring Alison Lohman and Justin Long as they navigate demonic forces in an effort to shake off a gypsy curse. So, Drag Me to Hell. Gross movie. Am I wrong?
Listen, I think I realize I don't like gypsy curse movies.
Oh, no?
I don't know. Like, I started this last night, and I don't know what it was. Like, I was just like, I can't get through this. The first 30 minutes, I was like, oh my goodness. Which really surprised me because I really wanted to like it. But, and it's not that I did not like it at all.
Right.
But yes, it was gross. I mean, this gypsy is disgusting.
Right.
But I don't know what it was. Like, if it was just like the curse portion of it, because I mean, we haven't really watched any cursed movies before.
No, not really. We've watched some Supernatural, but nothing like where, like you said, a curse. Like you've been cursed.
I think this was my first cursed movie that I've seen, and just something about it. I did not love it.
That's okay. No, that's okay. Like we've talked before, like horror is such a huge genre, and there's so many different. Like if picture like horror as like a Home Depot, and it's like there are so many things you can pick up at Home Depot that do not even cross over with things in other aisles. Like it is massive, and they carry so much that if you say I'm going to Home Depot, the next logical question is, for what? Are you going for lumber? Are you going for plumbing? Are you going for paint? Are you going for tools? Like, because you could you could go to Home Depot for a project every day for a year.
Oh yeah.
And still not have a reason to go down certain aisles. And so maybe just this like curse movie as a horror subgenre is just not for you, and that's okay. You don't know until you try it. And it's fine. But there is a lot of just kind of not really comedic, but like incidents where it's just gross.
Yes. Yeah, like well, I guess we'll get into it as we talk about it.
Yeah. So our movie actually does not kick off in recent time. It kicks off in like the late 60s, where we have this Hispanic couple that are seeking help from this young fortune teller, mind reader, whatever. They come to her with their son. Our son is sick and he's hearing evil voices. Well, what did he do? Well, he stole a silver necklace off a gypsy wagon. And despite him trying to return it, nope, you don't do that. That it's one thing to steal something from a grocery store because, you get a slap on the wrist and, kind of a shakedown. But you definitely don't want to steal something from a gypsy wagon because it's going to come with a curse. And so, this young medium, I guess is what you'd call her, she's preparing a seance but before she could get done, the young boy gets dragged to hell. So, and she vows as a precursor to what's to come of, I will see you again one day, demon, or something like that. I don't know. And then we fast forward to modern day 2009 Los Angeles, I guess. With a completely different okay, there's a little 2 or 3 minute intro to the movie. Let's now take you to a bank.
Yes, where we are introduced to Christine Brown.
Yeah.
And part of this is like her lisp killed me this whole movie.
Yeah.
And so maybe if someone else played Christine Brown, like they're so cute. It's so cute when my kids are like, so, you know, talking like that in kindergarten.
Right.
But to hear a grown adult talk like that, and I don't know if you noticed that, but
I did.
Just it killed me every time she said her S's. I was like, oh.
I got hung up a little bit more on because the way I look now, I've pretty much looked this way since like sophomore year of high school. Like I've always been a big dude. So with that being said, what would life be like to live as an adult but constantly look like a teenager?
Yeah.
I can understand, and I feel bad for the character. I can understand why you feel like you're constantly being overlooked for this promotion at work because you look like you just graduated high school at best.
She is like the typical girl next door type.
Yes.
Just like so innocent. She's very pretty, but I mean, she doesn't look like should be assistant branch manager.
No. She looks like she should be doing what she's doing.
Yes.
Like trying to get promoted, but constantly being looked over because she still shops at Forever 21.
Yes.
Do you feel, and I've had this, I don't want to call it a theory, but do you feel there are different levels, let me phrase it. Okay. Like, are pretty and beautiful the same thing?
No.
Okay. Cute.
Not in my opinion.
Are cute and pretty the same thing?
No.
Okay. Okay. So because I'm having a hard time putting into words, but it's like I feel that there are certain people that are just like in a spectrum of attractiveness. Like I feel like there's certain adjectives you could get trapped in, and it's like little kids are cute.
Yes.
And if you are now a young adult and you're still cute, I feel like that. I feel like you're trapped because you're trapped in a level where you're never really going to graduate to anything else. Now I feel a cute person can put in the work to look pretty.
Yes.
But they're still a cute person in a pretty outfit. You know,
yes.
like, and I feel like Alison Lohman she's just cute. I don't think she's ever going to graduate to beautiful but at the same time, there's like, you talk about someone like a Jennifer Lopez. She's just beautiful.
Yes.
She's never been cute. She's never, you know, she used to be pretty, but you know, I don't know. It's just this weird.
Yes.
Is that making any sense to you?
I 100% understand where you're coming from.
Right. And so, you know, it's like, if you feel like she's doomed a little bit because it's like she's cute and that's it, and that's not an insult. That's not in the slightest. But at the same time, it's like I feel like unfortunately you're going to be hamstrung by certain objectives simply because you just look like you're 17.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like, does that ever become a positive again as a woman? I don't know.
I mean, I feel like when you're a grandma and you're still maybe getting ID'd, it'd be a positive. Or it's like, whoa, you're her mom, you're not her sister. Like,
right. I mean, I could see that being flattering, but it's like, you know, when you are, I don't see it if you're 22 but you look 17, that you're probably not feeling good about that.
Yeah, no, because
and when you're 29 and you're looking 17, you're probably not feeling good about that either.
Yeah, and your boyfriend. It's probably weird that he thinks you're so attractive because you're 17.
I did think that a little bit. I did think that a little bit about Christine's boyfriend in this movie. I'm drawing a blank on his name.
Clayton.
Clay.
But
you know, I kind of got that vibe a little bit but then again, Justin Long always looks younger than he is too. So they're both kind of cute people.
Yes.
You know, because he's very boyish. It'd be different if he was like this big manly man, and it's, you know,
had some facial hair and a big kid haircut.
Like, no, they're both just baby faces. So, all right, good. I'm glad we're on the same level there. So that's a big well-around way to saying that, like you mentioned earlier, she's struggling to get promoted to assistant branch manager with Stu, who is I think his nose is perpetually brown. He is just Stu Rubin is the newly hired potential candidate for assistant branch manager, but he's the guy that like, oh, I have some basketball tickets that I can't use. Here, you can have them.
Like I just have these Lakers tickets. Like here you go.
He's trying to buy his way to the top, and Christine is trying to get promoted the right way through hard work. And of course, her boss seems to be playing both of them off of each other.
Yeah,
he's like the Jim, the manager at the bank. He's a nice enough guy, but I just feel like he's never going to make this decision because both of them are doing his work for him. And so that's where we come up with that's where we get to the premise of this movie is she is sitting down with Sylvia Ganesh, an elderly European slur. Just this, very stereotypical, Eastern European, down on her luck. She's got a fake eye. She's needing another extension on her mortgage. Another being
another.
And Christine is the super thoughtful. Like she really does. She's an empathetic character.
Yes,
you could tell she really cares.
She's a circle.
Yeah, she's a circle. I think she would be an excellent like pre-K, kindergarten, first grade teacher because she really cares. But she's also trying to get this promotion. So she goes to her boss. She's like, she's down on her luck. We need another one. And her boss is just like, it's up to you. So they had a conversation earlier about making tough decisions. So she denies her this extension. And instead of just getting up and leaving, Miss Ganush decides to start begging. And then it's like I feel bad. I feel bad for Christine because in no way, shape, or form should she have been cursed for this.
No. Like
that doesn't seem fair, And I don't want to keep throwing around the word gypsy because it is kind of a slur. But that just doesn't seem fair. If you come from a culture where you have the power to curse people, and then you just curse them because you don't like the outcome of something, that's not fair. Like, this whole movie is extremely unfortunate for Christine, because in reality, she didn't do anything wrong.
No. I mean, she had several other extensions. And her boss is, putting the grill to her, you make the choice. But it's like, in the way he's saying, what choice you better make the right one. And it's
so not fair. It's not fair as a society that we should live in perpetual fear of people that could curse us. It's ridiculous. Oh man, you really took too long checking out that person's items at the grocery store. You're cursed now. For what? I waited too long. You're cursed. This lady, you have no money. You can't pay. And I understand it is hard, and I'm not cold-hearted about it. But again, the bank has already extended you multiple times.
Yep.
You can't just live in a house for free because you want to. But when you are put in your place, you also just can't curse people to hell.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
And I do. Some of this, when you talk about gross, I'm backing up a little bit because this lady is disgusting. Yeah. So she comes up, she's tapping her fingers. They are
gnarly.
Oh my goodness, just disgusting. Which I don't know, maybe it's because they're brittle, whatever. But then she's hacking. She's got snot coming out,
I know.
Goobers coming out.
Takes her dentures out.
Yes, to suck on.
When Christine walks away, she wants some peppermint. So she empties the whole bowl of peppermints into her purse and then takes her dentures out so she could suck on the peppermint. And of course it's not just spit, it's slime. And that's really, I think that's where this movie is really effective. Regardless of where you feel about
Yes.
about because the CGI in this movie is not very good, especially for 2009, which is kind of disappointing because we were at a point like we were making Marvel movies by 2009, so I know that you could do better CGI. Like
Yes.
Jurassic Park came out with almost 20 years prior to this movie. So we know we could do CGI at this point. CGI in this movie not very good, but the practical effects
Yeah.
are
Like,
just gross.
I've seen
And-
someone take out dentures before, and it does not look like that.
No,
it does
it
not
doesn't.
have like strings.
I know, and I love it. It's just so like
It's so
just this-
disgusting.
just these tendrils of slime.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she starts begging. They have to call security. They end up dragging her out, and it's just like you
You shamed me.
You shamed me. There it was. You shamed me. Like, no, you shamed yourself, woman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Nobody asked you to get down on your knees and beg. You shamed yourself. And so she steals a button off of her coat. And it's like she's cursed now.
Yeah.
Rips a button, curses it. You
Yeah,
know.
this whole car scene was kind of like,
Oh, I know. Like
I
she's
mean,
she's
whew.
late, and I never got the vibe. And granted, we didn't ever really see her go into work, but I really never got the vibe that like the bank that she works at is in like a high rise that requires a parking garage.
yeah.
But whatever.
Unless it's just like there's no parking there, so she had to walk,
That could be it.
to the
But
next
I get,
block.
yeah,
But
the vibe that
that
came
it's
off was this
giving.
is just like this little neighborhood CEFQ or something.
yes.
And then she has to like go to the basement of a parking garage to leave. But
And-
yeah,
she gets attacked, and the way that this lady rips out some of her hair, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you probably didn't feel the pain there, but
No.
oh man, that hurt.
Yeah, like this movie is when kudos to Alison Lowen for the stunt work that she had
Yeah.
to do when the woman is like when her teeth come out, she's gumming her, like wrapping her mouth around
Yeah.
Christine's bottom jaw, and just it's so gross.
Yeah, she's just like sucking her chin, and I'm just like,
Yeah. I know, and that's like I said. I keep saying that's where this movie works.
that is where it's effective.
Really makes you uncomfortable. And so yeah, Christine, she's kind of, I won't say she's vented to Clay. Clay doesn't really take her seriously. He doesn't
Yeah.
believe in the curses. He doesn't believe in any of this stuff. But he does care about her. He he's believes in her, but not necessarily in what she believes. They go see a fortune teller really quick. Ram is his name. She just has. He said, "What do you want to do?" "I want to see a fortune teller." So they go in there. Of course, Clay thinks she's being fleeced for money, but in reality, this guy's like, "Take your money back." Once he
Yeah.
detects this dark spirit, I want anything to do with this. This is above my pay grade. Thank you. Have a nice day. Christine she can't shake this ghost entity, whatever, this cursed thing. It attacks her at home. Like Jump Scare City. Like this is one of those movies that if you could watch the whole movie on like volume 12. But there are going to be incidents where volume 12 sounds like volume 75. Like,
And it's funny you say that because I had the controller in my hand the whole time because I was on volume 13
fair enough.
and like when the gate starts creaking and the wind's blowing, I'm like, ooh, down to 8 because it was just it's
you just know it's coming.
screaming. Yeah.
You just know that the noise is coming. So the sound design in this movie it kind of helps too. Like it does lead to a lot of unease and
Yes.
and, like I won't say it's scary, but it's just like effective. Like
Yes.
the foreboding is there. You feel the dread almost as much as Christine does.
Yep.
As she's trapped in her house. There's another incident at work where she's kind of hallucinating a little bit about Ganesh being there. Another just kind of out of nowhere jump scare. And then she gets a bloody nose.
And it's
just
not just a bloody nose.
No, it starts to drip, and he's like, and Jax, the boss, is like, you got a little bloody nose there, and then it's just this geyser,
Yeah.
just flowing from her face to him, My favorite part of this whole scene, though, is at the end where he looks at the assistant and goes, "Did I get any in my mouth?" Of course you did, because you were covered in blood.
Yeah.
So she's been working on this big loan that she put all the footwork in. She's been working on this loan, and she's convinced that if she can seal the deal with this loan, that's going to be the one that gets her the spot. So as she has this bloody nose and leaves, we see Stu stealing the loan files from her desk. Mm-hmm. And so, it's this kind of this subplot about being the assistant branch manager or whatever. Christine figures, okay, I got to shake this curse. And so I've got to go apologize. I got to go beg for forgiveness.
Yeah.
And what does she find when she goes to Miss Ganush's house?
She's dead.
She's dead. Which, to be fair, she already looked like she had a foot in the grave anyway.
She did. She did.
But yeah, she's dead. And the family is like, we don't want you here. Like,
yeah.
You get the vibe that, like, Miss Ganush has been talking about Christine as well. Mm-hmm. And not in a curse sense, but just in the lady at the bank did this to me.
Yeah.
And so they don't want anything to do with her either.
And this was, like, super unfortunate because she went to, like, look at her and the casket that she's sitting in breaks. The corpse rolls over onto her. Christine is now, like, I've never embalmed a body, so I don't know what's in there, but this green goop is pouring out of her mouth onto Christine.
It's embalming fluid, but again, also someone who's never worked in mortuary sciences, I would like to think that they sew the body up, though, so that stuff doesn't get out.
That's what I would think, but I'll have to ask my friend who does funerals and embalms bodies.
It seems like, nope, they didn't sew the mouth shut, and she just gets all of the internal embalming fluid just drained all over her face.
And her hair. Her dead hand gets caught in her hair and
rips another big chunk
another chunk out.
Yeah.
I don't know how she still has hair at this point.
Yeah, and like, all this is going on, and even then, like, Ganush's family's like, you're gonna get everything that's coming to you.
Yeah, you deserve it.
They're this whole family is like, has the curse ability, and it's like, it's just, you know what? It's like, if completely understandable, registered sex offenders must notify the people in their neighborhood that they live there. If somebody has the ability to curse, I want to know that too.
Yes.
I want to make sure that because I want to steer clear of that family. Or else get them on my good side, one of the two.
Yeah.
And so Christine returns back to the guy she saw, Jas or whatever his name, Ram she goes back to him and explains like, hey, this button is what's cursed. I need your help. Well, he finally breaks down and he goes into detail on what's been cursed, what she's been cursed with. This basically she's been cursed with this demon, not by this demon, but with this demon known as the Lamia is what they call it. And of course it's like, so how long has this stuff been going on that he has this all down in a book? Mm-hmm. He just says you're going to be tormented by this demon for 3 days and then it's going to drag you to hell.
Yeah.
Unless you can sacrifice something to the Lamia in exchange. And,
which it's like, I don't know. This girl's obviously, she has never stepped in a church before because I feel like if you have, a kitten's not going to be a acceptable sacrifice. Like,
right. What do you guys cover in your church? You guys talk about appropriate sacrificial items? Good Lord.
Well,
can you... I need to watch my mouth because apparently you have the power to curse. Oh,
that's right. Don't get on my bad side.
Oh, boy.
But it's like, I feel like, you would never sacrifice a pig because they're, like, dirty animals. And that's why some religions, like, don't eat them because they're, quote-unquote, dirty animals. So I feel like, I don't know, why would you think sacrificing a kitten would be okay? But,
I
Whatever.
don't
She's
know.
desperate at this point.
This kitten, though, that she does sacrifice has got to have the most blood in it of
It
any
does.
kitten. Like, she take and thankfully they don't show the knife penetrating the kitten, but she
Yeah.
takes her kitten, she takes the knife and just goes to town. Of course, the camera is at the kitten's point of view, so it's like looking up at her as blood is just splattering all over the place. I'm like, man, this is a very juicy kitten.
Yeah.
And so we have another scene where Clay, I want you to meet my parents. I want you to meet my family. We overheard earlier, because she's from the farm.
Yeah.
And she has a history of being a bigger girl. So really there is this unspoken undertone in this movie about eating disorders. There is a lot of vomiting in this movie. There is a lot of regurgitation in this movie. And we get that because I think that's what Christine has probably used to get herself down to a size that she can respect herself for. But it probably wasn't a healthy road to get there. And so she has a history. She's the farm girl, whatever. And Clay's parents have much higher expectations for him. They are not. They are, and it drives me nuts because I know that there's people like this out there in the world that social status means everything. Like, I don't care if you're happy. You need to be with somebody who we feel you belong with.
Like, this girl graduated with honors from Yale. Like, she's much better for you. And it's just
and he's like,
it's so unfortunate.
Right, and Clay is like adamant. No, Mom, I care about her. I love her. Like, no, this is who I want to be with. So we have another scene of where at Clay's parents' house. She brings a cake. Like, that should have been your first. Like, you overheard the conversation about the mom basically discouraging because of where you came from, and then you decide to bring a dessert. Like, I bring a cake. Here you go.
And it's not just like a cake. It's like a cake they made at Harvest because the geese eggs were were made it more creamier at that time. And I'm just
like she goes full blown farm girl on this one. Which I guess maybe that was her way of, I don't know. She doesn't really seem to have much of a backbone, so I don't think that was her way of standing up to what his parents were talking about. But it's still like, you really leaned into it's a Harvest cake with eggs and from the goose and so a bunch of, she's tormented there because again, this Lamia is not going to leave her alone. And so it's like they're eating. Were they eating part of that cake?
Yeah, and which was, his parents loved it. Like, they're like, this is so delicious. Like, they're starting to really enjoy her because she admitted that her mom was an alcoholic. And, like, his mom really respected that, which was good. That she wasn't ashamed of it.
We were breaking down some walls here.
But then they're eating this cake, and hers is moving.
Yeah, like there's an eye in it, and...
Yeah.
It's just, it's tormenting her. And it's like Christine, you've been cursed. You should know this stuff is not real. Like, you should know it. The bloody nose, but like this, there's an eyeball in the cake that you made. Like, you should know better. But she gets so trapped into this, excuse me, that she, she really, like, breaks. She just cracks. She just cracks.
Throws a cup at the door where she hears it.
Starts yelling profanity at the cake. Like, to where now Mom is like, oh, you're crazy.
You can go.
Back to you being a crazy woman. Yep, you guys should probably go. And so, Christine goes back to Ram again. And so he's like, well, I can help you, but it's going to be $10,000. Well, that's quite a steep jump from the $60 you're going to charge earlier. But then we come full circle, and he introduces Christine to the older lady, the older version of the lady we saw at the beginning. This, I don't remember her name, and it really doesn't matter. But we get reintroduced to the medium at the beginning of the movie, who of course now was 40 years older. 35, 40 years older. And we're right back at it. We're going to have another seance because again, this lady's got a little comeuppance too. She knows exactly what demon she's dealing with, and I told you I'll see you again.
Yeah.
So she's ready. They prepare. They're going to trap the Lamia. We're going to have a seance. We're going to get the Lamia here. All right. But her goal is, I want the Lamia to inhabit me, and when it does, okay, then we will put my hand on the goat to transfer the Lamia to the goat, and then we'll sacrifice the goat. End of story. And it goes as smooth as you can expect.
Oh, for sure.
So the Lamia does possess her.
Mm-hmm. And she does put her hand on the goat.
Yes.
And it moves to the goat.
And it moves to the goat.
But her assistant.
Right. We have an assistant who is only there to be a victim.
Yeah.
Like, let's not kid ourselves.
He's just a warm body.
Yeah. And so it then possesses the assistant.
Because he missed the goat. Like, his only job was to kill the goat, and he cut it loose.
Yeah. So the assistant then, of course, being possessed by the Lamia, it vomits up Christine's cat, basically mocking her, like, you thought this was going to be a good enough sacrifice? I want your soul. The medium, she manages to come back into consciousness, and she quickly banishes the Lamia from the seance. Like, just to save everyone, it's not over, but she's banished this demon from the seance. But then, of course, she dies right afterwards.
Yep.
And so Ram's got a new idea. That button's been cursed. Let's take that button, and if you can gift it to somebody, you will shift the curse to them.
Why didn't, again, like, I'm with her, why didn't you say this earlier? And it's like,
exactly.
Clay's right. Like, he is a scam artist. He just took $10,000, $60 from you. Like,
no, he gave the 60 back. Yeah, because that was at the
10,000.
beginning.
Yes,
it was like, you're now out $10,000.
Yeah,
and you still are cursed. But he's like, let's put this button in an envelope, and if you can gift this to someone else, you pass the curse on to them. I agree. It's like, we couldn't have talked about this at the beginning. I always feel that way, and I love The Wizard of Oz. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. But I always felt the same way, that if Dorothy had the powers to click her heels together 3 times to return to Kansas, why didn't Glenda tell her that at the beginning of the movie?
Yeah.
Instead of putting her through mortal peril the entire movie,
Everything.
Only to, at the end, be like, guess what?
Yeah.
Basically, it's Glenda wanted the Wicked Witch out of the picture, and Dorothy took care of it for her. So Christine has a plan. I really hate Stu. Hate him. So I'm going to arrange to meet with Stu, because I know what he did. I know he took that file. Because, with that subplot, he gives Stu the assistant branch manager, because that deal fell apart.
Yeah.
Because that company that wanted the loan that Christine was working on, they went to First National. They went to a different bank. Well, it's because Stu stole the paperwork and tipped him off, so they took their business elsewhere. So therefore, she looked like she failed, and he then got the promotion. Well, Christine meets with Stu and lets him know, I know what you did. And she basically wants to give him... she wants to give him the button, but she realizes that she can't do it.
Yeah, she's just too nice of a person. He's crying.
He's too pathetic. It's almost like she views it like, if that cat wasn't a good enough sacrifice, Stu won't be either.
He won't.
She tries to black and he changes her mind. Then she sees an old man sitting in the diner. He's on oxygen. He's by himself. So she has the idea of, like, he's on his last days.
Yeah.
I'm going to just give him the button. But then his wife comes back.
And they're just the cutest couple ever for the 3 seconds you see them.
Yeah, she sees the joy. She can't do that either. So she's like, wait, I have an idea. What if I just give it back to Ganesh?
Uh-huh.
So she goes and quickly digs up her grave. I've never dug a grave, but I think it would take me a while.
Oh, for sure.
I'm assuming it would take her even longer. And I know that the rain softens up the dirt. I get that.
But it's also like hurricane right here.
Yeah.
I mean, out of nowhere, like it's just the heaviest rain that they've ever seen.
Yeah.
And she does. She digs it up.
Yep.
She's covered in maggots. Again, disgusting.
And let's not dismiss how strong Christine is.
Yeah.
To rip apart the wooden casket cover, like with her bare hands.
Yeah.
She just grabs it and like she's ripping pine box apart.
Yeah. And shoves it down her throat.
Right.
And she's like, choke on that.
Yeah.
And once again, though, she gets her hair caught in her.
Yep. and as she's trying to escape, the grave marker, which is a giant metal cross, tips over and smacks Christine on the head. Which she should be dead.
Yeah, she should.
Because not only does that knock her out, but then she goes underwater.
Yeah, because this grave is now just flooded in seconds.
Right. Yeah, we've gotten 6 feet of rain in seconds. Mm-hmm. She should be dead. Mm-hmm. The end. Like, you can't have my soul, Lamia. I died.
Yeah.
But no. She regains consciousness underwater where she did not drown, and then climbs out of the grave. And she's vindicated. I've done it. Mm-hmm. I have passed off the curse. I'm good.
And life is great for her. I mean, she wakes up the next morning. Everything's fine. She is going to meet Clay for a weekend trip. She gets a call. She's got the promotion. Yeah. Because everything that Stu did came out.
Yep. Stu went and ratted himself out.
Yeah. She buys herself this new coat. I mean, life is just great. And she goes up to Clay and he's like, what happened to your old coat? And she's like, oh, I got rid of it. And he's like, oh, well, I had something to give you.
Yeah.
And it's the button because she gave away one of his like collector coins.
Yeah, he's a big coin collector. And when she finds a unique coin at the bank, she gives it to him. I would hope she replaces it with her own coin or else she's stealing.
So I do know that only because this has happened to my mom, if someone like brings in coins and they don't go through the coin machine, they just get to keep them.
Really?
Yep, because they don't count as anything.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Yeah, and I only know that because my mom's found some. Which
is kind of bizarre because, like in this situation, this is a very valuable coin.
Yes.
That doesn't fit. So if that's really the case, so if someone brings in a big bucket of coins and they dump them into the coin machine, and certain coins don't go through because they're too old, maybe. So there's a chance that those coins that don't fit are actually worth more than the denomination of the coin, and then your mom just pockets them.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful because, as discovered earlier, you guys do talk about proper sacrificial items.
That's right.
Church. So I think it's great. I think it's wonderful that your mom does that. It's not taking advantage. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a wonderful experiment.
She does, and like she likes the little coin dollar things, so she will like put $1 in, and she'll trade those out. But yeah.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yep.
I'm learning all kinds of things. We still don't have our answer about whether they close off all the orifices for embalming, but I did discover that if a coin is been out of circulation so long that it doesn't fit into a coin counter, then they could just keep the coins. Mm-hmm. So cool. So yeah, Clay. This coin thing. There was an incident earlier in his car where, like, a bunch of stuff hit the floor. And there were 2 envelopes. One envelope had the button and the other envelope had the coin. Well, obviously, she took the coin envelope, and that's what she's been trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Clay's had the button envelope, which I wonder, does that count as her passing off the curse if she gave it to him?
I think so
because he didn't say a word about being cursed. Because again, we saw her life straighten out.
Yeah.
But he made no comment about
And
the terrible hallucinations.
But that also made me wonder, like, is it all in your head? Like, you know, she thought it was over, so
right.
Is it over?
It clearly wasn't, though, because he gives her the button back, and it's the end of the 3 days, and as she's trying to back away because she absolutely does not want this button, she falls onto the tracks, and of course he understandably gets really freaked out because you know she fell on, and it's an above ground subway basically is what we're talking about here. So you don't want to jump down on the tracks and save her. So he's he's doing what I think anybody would rightfully do. Panicking, get help, stop the train, because here comes a train, and right before she gets slammed by this train, the ground opens up, demons from hell reach up, pull her down into hell, and he watches it. He's like watching it through the train, like the gaps in the train wheels, as he's watching her succumb to these demonic forces and are being pulled into hell. And then, boom, the title of the movie slams on the screen, and that is Drag Me to Hell. Your first Sam Raimi movie.
Yes. And we talked last week, he's got some others, correct? Is he coming out with the one that we had talked about last week, like Rise of the Evil, something?
Evil Dead Rise.
Yes.
He may be a producer on it.
Okay.
Okay. It is based on the movies that he created, the Evil Dead movies. So there's some characters based on his. He has nothing to do with it, but it is produced by a man named Rob Tappert, who is also involved with the Evil Dead movies. Okay, like he and Sam Raimi have been buddies for a long time. So the fact that he's still involved in it, it's like it's still within the same family, you know. And so I think he produced the first Evil Dead movie. Yeah, he did. He produced the first Evil Dead movie that Sam Raimi directed, and then went on to produce this one as well. So, yes, Sam Raimi's not directly involved, but like one of his best friends is, who produced all the Evil Dead movies prior to this one. So, but yeah, it's all in his wagon of stuff. So yeah, Sam Raimi. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of Sam Raimi. So and we'll watch other stuff. Not all of it's curse movies. So.
And like this, it did a good job at like we said, the gross stuff. I don't know. It was just the cursed part. I was just like,
oh no, there are subgenres of horror I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call this religious horror, but I have a really hard time getting into religious horror. Not movies like The Nun.
Yeah.
But but there are others that are, some are really, really good. Like The Exorcist is one of the greatest horror movies of all time, and it's definitely religious horror. But I'm talking more like church involvement, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like The Exorcism is just a couple of Catholic priests coming to do an exorcism.
Yeah.
That's about the extent of the religion. But there are other movies where you're really getting into biblical stuff, and it's like, I'm not a religious person, and so like for me, that's just, I think it's probably because it's an area I just don't fully understand. So. All right, but let's grade this one. Let's grade Drag Me to Hell. You go ahead and start as always. I'm not expecting a good one here, and that's okay.
I mean, it didn't fail by any means because, like we talked about, like it was still gross.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a C-.
Okay.
It got the point across. It was gross where it needed to be. It just, like I've said, I mean, it just wasn't. It wasn't for me.
Right, and that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, we've covered others that, like the Terrifier movies.
Yes.
We can recognize that they have an audience. We're just not that audience, and that's fine. I'm gonna give Drag Me to Hell. I'm gonna give it a B. It's a movie. It probably gets a little bit of boosted grade because of Sam Raimi's involvement. Because I am a big Sam Raimi fan. But it's a movie that my wife and I saw in theaters. We just enjoyed it, and it is the gross stuff. The whole seance and demon stuff. I will agree. I could take or leave it. It's really not that big of a deal to me. But I do enjoy a movie that uses gross practical effects, and they really did that here. And for that, it's like, good for you. You know, the movie's just gross. Like,
yeah, it is.
Everything from the sound effects of taking her dentures out to the sliminess to the when the body landed on her in the grave and she's just vomiting bugs all over her.
Yeah.
You know, the chinning her mouth, and you know, there's so much of it that it's just gross. And for me, it's squirmy goodness. It is, you know, and so that's what's getting its elevated grade for me as a B. It's just a fun movie, and you know, it's fairly short. Falls into that hour and a half category. I think it's hour and 39 or something like that. So that works for me. All right, what kind of educational lesson would you take from this movie?
Man, this one's tough because I kind of want to say, like, don't steal things, but you know, because it starts out in the beginning. Yeah. But the other part is like, be cautious of who you tick off, which isn't really. Yeah. I mean, because you don't want kids to not have a backbone and stand up for themselves.
True.
But it's just like, be cautious of who you're dealing with, kind of, because it's like, I don't know. This one's hard for me.
That's fair. That's okay. I'll take one then. I'm gonna go on the like super subplot line of Allison and her struggles with her body image. I think the advertising industry has come a long way since 2009 of more inclusiveness in what bodies look like. You are seeing a lot more advertisements on TV and on the internet and in magazines today with full figured models.
Yes.
And you know, they really have done a decent job, and I hope it sticks around. I just hope it's not a phase. They've done a really good job of kicking to the curb what they want us to think beauty looks like. And so you are seeing a lot more interracial couples in ads. You're seeing a lot more people with what used to be deemed like flaws that aren't, you know, like you're seeing a lot more models that have a lot of freckles, or, you know, are a little heavier than what we're used to seeing. And I think that's great.
Yeah.
And so I really do. I don't feel like everything is trying to push you into this Victoria's Secret showcase anymore. And again, I hope it stays. But the message I would say for this is they really did, they mentioned on a few occasions, you know, that Allison struggled with her weight when she was younger. They showed a couple of older pictures, and of course she doesn't look that way anymore. So you get the vibe that there may have been some unhealthy habits that got her where she is today. Because we never do see her working out.
No.
We also never really see her eating much.
Yeah.
The only time they really pay attention to eating is when she is freaking out and she's like plowing through ice cream. And even Clay's like, aren't you lactose intolerant? And she's like, I don't care anymore. Like, she's broken to the point where she's going back to habits that she was working hard not to do. And so I would say, you know, for me, it's, you know, there is no one size fits all. Despite what midi clothes or hats or belts will say one size, there's no such thing. You know, there's 7+ billion people on this planet, and we all have different body sizes and shapes, which means there is no one thing. And while, you know, we all kind of struggle with our own little insecurities, I know for myself, if I could snap my fingers and drop 30 pounds, I would do it. But I'm at a point in my life where it's really hard for me to continually be motivated to drop the weight. But I would be doing it for myself. I wouldn't be doing it because I'm trying to win something over. But at the same time, I'm doing my best not to do it unhealthily.
Yeah.
We had a few years ago. I think it was before you started. We had we did a weight loss competition at Central's End, and we would weigh ourselves every Friday, and whoever lost the most weight. No, it was whoever lost the biggest percentage of their weight, won the cash prize or whatever. And I worked really hard, but it wasn't healthy. Like, I was working out a lot, I was doing a lot of cardio, but I was also eating like a slice of ham with a slice of cheese for lunch.
Yeah.
I was way under 1,200 calories a day, but there was money on the line and I wanted to win it. And while I did drop the most weight in the competition, because for starters, I was the heaviest anyway. But I mean, I remember there was like 2 weeks in a row that I came in, I was down 7 pounds each week. It's not healthy to lose 7 pounds. No. But again, I was like, I gotta win. And I'm not an overly competitive person, but if I was going to get myself in better shape, all that weight's gone back on because it was short-lived. And I ended up splitting the pot with somebody who's no longer there, because percentage-wise, they were doing it the correct way. They were dropping a little bit at a time, but I could tell they were exercising, they were eating better. I was just going extreme because it was a short competition. And so that's not safe. That's not a good way to treat your body. There's so much information out there. I'm going on and on and on here, but that would be my takeaway is take care of your body, learn to love who you are, because if you don't love who you are, then you can't really accept the love of someone else. And that's my thoughts anyway. So.
Yep, I agree with that.
Good deal. All right, so are you open to just whatever I was mentioning pre-show?
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen? I know it's a loaded question here. A 1999 film called Stir of
Nope.
called Stir of Echoes is the name of it. It's got Kevin Bacon in it.
Never even heard it.
Okay. That's the one I'm going to pitch for next week.
Okay.
Stir of Echoes. It is. It's a good one. There's no curse here. You're off the hook with a curse. And so it is. It's one that I've seen numerous times. It came out the same year as The Sixth Sense.
I like that movie.
And so there are some similarities to it, but it came out the same year as The Sixth Sense. So it gets this unfair comparison, because when two movies come out at the same time, that means they really can't influence each other. Because when a movie comes out, it's been in the works for a long time. And so here's two movies that just happen to may have a mildly similar theme. I personally, I like this Stir of Echoes better than Sixth Sense, and I really like the Sixth Sense.
I do
but
too.
I feel with the Sixth Sense, I feel like you could watch it once, and then the second time you watch it is not as enjoyable.
Correct. It's not as spooky, kind of.
Because everything with the Sixth Sense is based around the twist. There's no twist in Stir of Echoes.
Okay.
And so I really like this movie. So I think let's watch that one next. Stir of Echoes with Kevin Bacon. So we're going back to pre-classics here of 1999. I don't know what you're going to do with this super old movie.
I know.
That's almost as old as you are.
I can't believe it's not black and white.
I know. It came out last century. I can't believe. So, all right. Well, that wraps up another episode of Deducation. You can find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, we'd love it if you could like and subscribe and tell people. If you're listening to it on a podcast, you could do the same. We really do appreciate everybody coming back each week as we comb through and introduce new horror films, either revisits for me or possibly even new ones to both of us. So we just finished up with Drag Me to Hell, and we are going to jump backwards another decade and cover Stir of Echoes next week. So for Deducation, I'm Mike.
And I'm Courtney.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.